The Nobel Prize winner Werner Heisenberg once said, "What we observe is not nature itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning." And maybe that's why we haven't found them, the creatures people claim to see in the woods, the oceans, and in recurring dreams. Not because they don't exist, but because we haven't asked the right questions. And so, in the baffling corners of the world, myths still exist, waiting to be explored. This is part 3 of 7 mythical creatures that existed in real life, and this time, we're back with beings that will send chills down your spine. So hold your breath and get ready for the ride. Number 1. Cerberus. Do you remember the giant 3-headed dog guarding the trapdoor in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone? That fearsome beast wasn't an invention of fantasy. It was inspired by one of the most terrifying creatures in ancient mythology. His name was Cerberus. In Greek mythology, Cerberus was no ordinary dog. He was the monstrous guardian of the underworld, or the world of the dead. Just like in Harry Potter, the original lore describes Cerberus standing guard at the gates of Hades, towering in size, with 3 snarling heads, a serpent's tail, and sometimes even a mane of venomous snakes. But Cerberus was more than a guard dog. He was a warden of the line between life and what lies beyond it. As per the ancient poets, his 3 heads represented the past, present, and future. Others claimed they stood for birth, life, and death. His very presence was meant to remind mortals that death was inevitable, unshakable, and absolute. And unlike most monsters in Greek mythology, Cerberus was not a rogue creature. He was fiercely loyal to Hades, god of the underworld. He didn't roam the earth looking for prey. He didn't kill for chaos. He simply stood at his post like a merciless guard of the afterlife. Even the bravest heroes feared him. Orpheus, the legendary musician, could only pass by, lulling him to sleep with music. Even Psyche once distracted him with enchanted bread. But those are the only 2 incidents where someone could pass by him. Cerberus was said to be the offspring of Typhon and Echidna, 2 of the most fearsome beings in mythology, known as the parents of monsters. That made him the sibling of other infamous creatures like the Hydra, the Chimera, and the Sphinx. But Cerberus isn't just a creature from ancient myths. In real life, animals born with 2 or even 3 heads have been documented like 2-headed snakes, turtles, and yes, even dogs. It's rare, but it happens. Some survive, some don't. But it proves something important. It's not impossible, even in the real world, to imagine a loyal but terrifying dog with more than 1 head. Number 2. The Indus Worm. The ancient Greek physician Ctesias, in the 5th century BCE, documented the sightings of a terrifying creature he called the Indus Worm. According to locals, it stayed hidden in the river mud during the day and emerged only at night to feed. But it wasn't a worm in the modern sense. Witnesses described it as so thick, a 10-year-old child couldn't wrap his arms around it, and as long as 7 cubits, or nearly 11 feet. It had a single massive tooth in each jaw, square and powerful, capable of crushing stone, bone, or anything else it could grab, including livestock. Horses, oxen, even camels were said to be dragged screaming into the water. The skin was also hide-like, nearly 2 fingers thick, which made it even more impossible to fight him. And it got worse. If it was hungry during the day, the worm would rise silently from the shallows, latch onto a drinking animal's lips, and drag it down into the muddy depths in seconds. But the strangest part? Legends say that an Indus worm's body creates a volatile substance that's thick, sticky, and unnaturally flammable. Known in tale as Scolex oil, it's said to leak enough to fill 10 codali, or roughly 5 liters. This strange oil could ignite with just a touch of air, bursting into green flames that clung to anything like a piece of wood, metal, or even flesh. But water couldn't put out this fire. The only way to stop it was by covering it with mud or garbage. Alchemists were said to pay a steep price for a single vial. Only the king of India was allowed to possess this oil. As per the legends, he used it to burn cities, to storm gates, and to melt weapons mid-battle. 1 drop, they claimed, could start a fire that even the river itself couldn't stop. Later in the years, scientists dismissed the ideas of Ctesias, saying he might have come across a crocodile. Since he witnessed it for the first time, he might have confused it as a worm. But was the Indus worm just a myth? Maybe. But in a river that has flowed for thousands of years, it's not hard to believe that something once crawled on its depths. Number 3. Chimera. Do you know, in biology, the term chimera refers to an organism made from 2 or more different species? It might sound like something out of science fiction, but it's real. And that's exactly why the Greek myth of the chimera is still so infamous. In ancient mythology, the chimera was a terrifying fusion of beasts. It had the head of a lion that breathed fire, a goat's head rising from its back, and a serpent for a tail. It wasn't just strange, it was biologically impossible, a creature that defied the natural order. Legend says the Chimera, just like Cerberus, was the daughter of Typhon and Echidna, two of the most dangerous monsters in mythology. Chimera was raised by Amisodarus, the king of Korea, but because of her strange body and destructive nature, she brought chaos wherever she went, attacking both villages and people. She was feared by all, and because of her 3 different animal parts, she became known as Tricephalus, or the Three-Headed. Eventually, she was killed by the hero Bellerophon. Later, the Roman poet Virgil imagined her standing at the gates of the underworld alongside other terrifying monsters. But even in death, the Chimera left her mark. Her image appeared on ancient coins, statues, pottery, and even mountain names. In modern-day Turkey, a mountain called Mount Chimera still burns with eternal flames, fires fueled by natural gas seeping from the earth. To the Greeks, those flames weren't just geology. They were a sign, proof that Chimera had once lived there. What's even stranger is that the idea of the Chimera didn't die with mythology, it moved into science. In modern science, chimeras are no longer just stories. In the 1980s, researchers created a real chimera by fusing a goat and sheep embryo, not a hybrid, but a true merged organism. Other labs have grown human brain cells inside mice, and in 1998, 2 scientists even tried to patent a human-animal chimera, an experiment so disturbing the government rejected it outright, calling it dangerous, even monstrous. So today, the chimera lives on, not in the mountains, but in labs and headlines. Number 4. Miambe. The 4th creature in our video is Miambe. Also known as Mokalembembe, this legendary creature is said to roam the gloomy rivers and vast swamps of Central Africa, within the Congo Basin. Its name in the Lingala language means the one who stops the flow of rivers. And once you hear the stories, you'll understand why. Locals describe it as a massive creature, the size of an elephant, with smooth gray skin, a long snake-like neck, a small head, and a crocodile's tail. What is different about Miambe is that it doesn't attack humans, but it fiercely defends its territory. According to tribal lore, any canoe that drifts too close is destroyed, its crew dragged into the water, but the bodies are never eaten, as if the creature isn't hunting for food, just punishing intruders. Some say it's herbivorous. It feeds on plants, climbs onto riverbanks at dawn to graze, and returns to the caves carved by river currents into the soft clay banks. It's there, hidden in darkness, where it waits. The earliest known written account of this creature comes from 1776. French missionary Abbé Proyart recorded enormous clawed footprints deep in the jungle, 3 feet wide, spaced so far apart they had to belong to a beast of unbelievable size. Then, in 1913, German explorer Captain von Stein documented similar tales from the tribes along the Congo, Sangha, and Ikalemba rivers. They all spoke of a creature that attacked boats, left no survivors, and vanished without a trace. So, what exactly is Miambe? To cryptozoologists, it could be a living dinosaur, something like a sauropod. A long-necked giant, thought to be extinct for 65 million years, somehow surviving in the untouched wilds of the Congo. In 1981, an expedition led by biologist Dr. Roy McCall entered the Congo swamps hoping to find it. Locals confirmed the creature's presence, but again, no bones, no photographs, just more stories and more footprints. Still, sightings continue. Locals continue to whisper, and modern expeditions continue to search. Because in one of the least explored jungles on Earth, who's to say what really lives beneath the water's surface? Number 5. Emela Ntouka. Now that we're already deep in the swamps of the Congo, discussing the legends of living dinosaurs, another name begins to surface, the Emela Ntouka. In the local Lingala language, the Emela Ntouka means the killer of elephants. And that's not a metaphor. The Emela Ntouka is said to be a huge, horned, semi-aquatic beast that lurks in the rivers and lakes of the Congo Basin. It's almost the size of an elephant, with a thick, gray, hairless body, legs like tree trunks, a crocodile-like tail, and one long, curved horn, white as ivory, jutting from its forehead. It's said to tear through elephants and hippos with ease. Not to eat them, but to destroy anything that dares invade its space. Back in 1981, cryptozoologists Roy McCall and Herman Registers led separate expeditions to the Congo. While hunting for Mokola Mbembe, they heard chilling stories of another creature which was more aggressive and dangerous. It was the Emela Ntouka. One villager even claimed it had killed 3 elephants earlier that year. Its prints were massive 3 sharp toes found along muddy riverbanks. In one case, a French photographer mistook them for hippo tracks until he noticed something strange. The central toe was far too sharp, too long, almost predatory. Some experts think it could be a species of aquatic rhinoceros like the Indian rhino, which spends most of its time in water. They argue that if a rhino evolved in a swampy environment, it might develop longer toes, stronger limbs, and perhaps even that long weaponized horn. But there's a mystery. Rhinos usually lose fights against elephants and hippos, but the Emela Ntouka doesn't. In fact, it's feared by every animal that shares its habitat. So, is it just a mutated rhino, or something far more ancient? That question still lingers in the shadows of the Congo. Number 6. The Ningen. The Ningen isn't your typical sea legend. They call it Ningen, which literally means human in Japanese. Not a monster, not a beast, just human. And maybe that's what makes it even creepier. It's a massive, pale white creature reported by crews of government-operated whale research vessels, mostly in the freezing waters near Antarctica. Some say it measures 60 to 100 feet long. Others say it moves like a shadow beneath the waves. But what makes it so disturbing is how human it looks. Eyewitnesses have described a humanoid shape with long limbs, legs, arms, even 5-fingered hands. Others say it has no legs at all, but a giant mermaid-like tail, or sometimes fins, tentacles, or even cephalopod arms. And in some cases, it's described as a small bipedal humanoid eerily similar to the Fresno nightcrawlers. Its skin is smooth and white as ice with only 2 visible facial features, eyes and a mouth. The earliest known story about the Ningen appeared in 2007 on a Japanese internet forum, 2channel. The post caught fire. Paranormal magazines picked it up. Photos from Google Earth showing strange shapes off the coast of Namibia were linked to it. Some believed these were just icebergs, others insisted it was the Ningen. It is almost always spotted at night, another reason why there are no clear photos. In 2010, the Enoshima Aquarium released footage of deep-sea life. But at the end of the clip, viewers noticed a massive body lying on the ocean floor. It had a wide mouth, small eyes, and didn't move. The aquarium later claimed it was just an oddly shaped rock with sponges, but for many, that explanation only deepened the mystery. There are rumors that the Japanese government has documented these sightings extensively, even instructing witnesses to stay silent. Some believe they're protecting the reputation of their whale research program. Others think they're hiding something deeper. Number 7. Umibozu. The last creature in this series is not really a creature, but a spirit. The Umibozu spirit is said to appear on calm nights, when the sea is quiet and still. Everything seems peaceful until suddenly huge waves rise out of nowhere and a dark figure emerges from the water. This entity is massive, sometimes as tall as a building, other times no bigger than a man. Its head is smooth and bald like that of a monk, which is where it gets its name Umibozu, meaning the sea monk. It looks part human, but it rarely shows its full body, only rising just enough to be seen before it causes chaos. There are many versions of this story across Japan. Some say the Umibozu is the ghost of a drowned priest. Others believe it's a fallen sea god demanding sacrifices. There's even a tale of a sailor who spoke bravely to the creature, and the Umibozu disappeared. When it appears, ships are often broken in an instant, tossed by waves or pulled under. But in many stories, the Umibozu speaks. It asks for something simple, like a ladle. If you give it one, it starts scooping water into your ship, trying to sink it. The only way to survive is to trick it by handing over a bottomless ladle, one with a hole in it, and escaping while it's confused. But not every encounter ends well. Some fishermen say the creature hates smoke and will flee if tobacco is burned. Others believe it will only attack from the front of a boat, never the back, where the ship's protective spirit stands guard. And in some rare sightings, it doesn't attack at all, it just watches, as if deciding something. No photos have ever captured it, no proof has ever been shown, but late at night, when the sea is too calm, too quiet, some sailors still look over their shoulders, because when the waves start rising and a dark, bald head appears, it might already be too late. So, if creatures like these once walked the earth, what else is still hiding in the dark? But here's something I didn't tell you at the start. Every creature in this video, as strange as they seem, still isn't the wildest I've come across. Because the ones I showed you in the previous video, they're even harder to believe, and yet somehow even more real. You might want to see those next.